I'm nice. I'm really nice. I'm a nice guy. Nice guy syndrome. When I say those words, if you're a guy and sometimes you get all walked all over, you do things that you don't actually want to do because you don't want to piss somebody else off. You know what I'm talking about. The thing about nice guy syndrome is when you're a nice guy, a lot of times deep down, you don't want to be so nice. It leads to resentment. Like, it's very easy to... Let me explain. When you're too nice, what does that really mean? Like I said, it means that you let people walk all over your boundaries. That's not how we think of it in our heads, though, right? In our heads, it's like we're having a conversation with somebody, and they're like, okay, cool, so you're down to have, like, a meeting next week, right? And then you're like, thinking in your head, like, oh shit, the time that they said, I was actually planning on going on a hike at that time. And then you're like, yeah, I could do that time. And then you don't go on the hike that you wanted to go on, or you don't see the other person that you wanted to see, and instead you just say yes to that person. And then you resent it. You resent the fact that you gave in because you knew what you really wanted to do. It's different if you actually wanted to, if it's like a person who's calling you up and you like only get one chance to like speak to that person. You're like, yeah, let's do that time. But no, normally it's like deep down, you know you want to go on that hike. You want to do your own thing. And then you're just like, oh man, I just caved and gave in and just did the thing on their time, and we didn't compromise. We didn't talk about it. And now, there's that little like anger. You might be blaming them. You might be just beating yourself up. You might be like, why? To the universe, whatever. You're blaming, you're bitter, you're like, and that's how resentment happens a lot of times in relationships is you do things that go against your own personal desire and your own personal values to please other people or to not cause tension with other people. And it's out of fear. It's out of fear causing tension with other people. But I think as a nice guy, what you need to realize is tension with other people is a good thing. And it's a necessary part of life and relationships. There is tension. If you're a man specifically in a relationship, here's what you need to do. You need to, when you meet a woman that you really like, if she's tempting you to go against your values, I'm not talking about like dumb things like, I don't know, she wants to go get ice cream and then you're like, no, I don't want to go get ice cream. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you've got an important business meeting coming up this weekend, and then your significant other wants to go to a theme park instead. And then you hold your ground and you're like, no, this is actually a really important business thing. Trust me, it is. And then you just hold your ground and you go to the business thing because you know that it's going to advance you in your career. It's just one example, right? You know what I'm talking, you know the feeling I'm talking about when you really want to do something and you know it's the right decision in the long run. You know that she's going to respect you more in the long run. But if you're a really nice guy, you're tempted to compromise. If you don't compromise, you'll get more respect in your relationship, and you're going to have to deal with the emotions. She might be upset. Your significant other might be upset in the moment, like, oh man, I don't want to go, or I don't want you to go to that. I want to go to the theme park. Oh. See, guys that are too nice will just be like, oh shit, I don't want my significant other to be sad. Okay, you know what? We can go to the theme park. But then it's like, you're going to the theme park under the premise of like, you didn't want to go in the first place. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have resentment in your heart and your soul because you went against your heart and soul and your true desire. And what you knew was right, was the right decision for that weekend. Isn't that how it happens? And you go to the theme park with your significant other, and then you're just unhappy the whole time because you're like, I had such an opportunity to go to this business trip, but then she wanted to do this. If you're a woman, you need to find a man. Sorry, this is where it gets controversial because, sorry everybody, but well, not sorry actually. Men and women are different. Okay, we're attracted to different things. A man will feel very good about himself if he holds his ground and does what's right and takes that position as a leader in a relationship. Typically, that's what happens when that creates a good relationship. And then a woman, if you're a woman, you need to find a man who won't compromise and who is okay with your emotions. If you find a man who, this is just my opinion, obviously I'm not a woman, but in my opinion, if you find a man who when you start getting emotional because like he doesn't want to go to the theme park that weekend, or he doesn't want to do this other thing, whatever. He doesn't want to do this other thing because he knows that for you and for him, for everybody, it's a win if you do this other thing that maybe you don't feel good about, right? Or whatever, or it doesn't feel fun, or it's like whatever. But he just knows it's the right decision. If you find a man who holds his ground, you're going to have a very trustworthy man, because obviously you can trust somebody who's a leader who holds his ground, right? The kind of man who would sink with the ship. He's not going to abandon the ship. Do you get that analogy? Maybe. All right. But also a man who, when you get emotional, like if I'm in a relationship with a woman, I know that sometimes, and this isn't necessarily true of just women, right? People get emotional. So if my friend or my significant other, whatever, as a man, if the other person in the relationship starts having emotions because they're upset about something, I'm not going to immediately just be like, oh, let's try to solve this emotion. Let's change everything so that we can solve this emotion. I'm going to let your emotions run their course. And I'm just going to be like, if you have to talk about something, I'll listen. But I'm not going to try to keep you from having your emotions. And I think that's what a lot of men specifically need to realize, is that when, because like that's how women get called like crazy, right? Like women are crazy, they're emotional. But it's like if a man just lets, like listens and like lets you, if you're a woman, like have your emotions for like an hour or two, whatever, it just passes, or a day, whatever, it just passes. And then it's like, you're still, like I said with the business meeting example, you're still going to the business meeting on the weekend. Maybe you go to the theme park next week, or the vacation, or whatever you want the next week. Maybe you do that. But it's like, I don't know, that general course, that's like the grounded force. And I think that's what masculine people focus on, is like the course. And then whatever emotions come up, you just need to let those happen. Not try to stop them, not freak out, not be reactive. Let them happen. Listen, understand, but like remain on that course. Is this making sense? What was this even about? This was about nice guy syndrome. Okay, so if you're a nice guy, hopefully all that gave you an idea of how to behave in the future, as opposed to being reactive and like compromising your own values and compromising what you know is right. Instead, thinking logically and rationally. What is the right decision here? What do I want to do? And what do I believe is going to cause the best possible outcome for everybody in the situation? This. And that's what you need to do, and that's what you need to stick to. And if other people get mad, if other people are upset, cool. But a lot of times you'll find out that other people aren't going to get upset. You're afraid of that, right? You're afraid of other people getting upset. But a lot of times they'll just respect you for holding your ground. We're so afraid of other people's emotions. They're just emotions. They're just emotions. They run their course. I've had a situation recently where somebody was in my face. I'm not going to say who. In my face. It was caused by my emotions, actually, because I was being really short with them that morning. And then they got in my face later and they were like, don't disrespect me, whatever. And I just stood there. I just looked at him. I just stood there. After like a minute of him just getting out what he needed to get out, it was fine. So if you're a nice guy, don't let your emotions lead you. Intuition, sure. Feelings and emotions can be a signal. You can listen to them. Absolutely listen to them. They're there for a reason. But like, at the end of the day, follow what you know is right in the long term. Not like just short term trying to take care of not pissing somebody else off in the moment. I think that about sums it up.